So, hey everyone, it's Trevor Turnbull here, the CEO of LinkedIn Leads and the founder of the Expert Selling Machine. And I'm joined by Pam Warren right now, who is one of our students inside the Expert Selling Machine program. Thank you for joining me to talk about your experience so far, Pam. I'm looking forward to talking to you about this.
Thank you, Trevor. And it's lovely to be speaking to you again.
Yeah, we literally just got off a call, like an hour and a half call here a moment ago. And we talk to each other on a weekly basis. So it's, yeah, again, we're in contact a lot. But the reason why I wanted to introduce you to everybody, Pam, and to allow you to share your story and to just your experience in all of this is that I feel like a lot of people will be able to relate to maybe where you've come from and where you are currently and kind of how you see the future playing out, even though there's never any certainties. I think there's some things that we've got some clarity on even in the last few weeks that make it a little bit more comforting with what we're doing. So let's maybe start off with just you giving a little elevator pitch of your background and who you are and what you do in your business.
Okay. All right. Well, my background is really financial services. That's what I used to do as a day job. And then over in the UK, unfortunately, I got caught up in the worst ever train crash in this country and was almost killed. It was the Paddington train crash. And after I recovered from that, I set up a survivors group. I then campaigned to make our railways safer over here against the government and the rail industry, and I won. Yay.
Yeah, amazing.
So that sort of changed my life because obviously my life beforehand had been trashed. I was a business owner and was doing very well, thank you. But I was just too unwell to continue with it.
Mm-hmm.
So after a few years of recovery, it then came down to what are you going to do next? And I tried various things because my health is now altered, so I have to take that into account. And eventually I became a professional speaker. And now I travel the world doing that.
Yeah.
And I thoroughly enjoy it. There is something about standing on stage and talking to loads of people that I really like. So,
Yeah. And you're an author as well, with your book covers in the background, obviously, there too, right?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I was asked to write my autobiography in 2014, which is what I did. And it got 5 stars on Amazon. And yeah, people are still buying it after all these years.
Well, it's an amazing story, obviously. Like, you're an inspiration to a lot of people, and getting your story out there to help inspire other people that are maybe going through disruption in their business, because I know that's a lot of what you talk about now, which is kinds of stuff at us. And you, as even a business owner or a manager or whatever it might be, you're going to have to work through these things with your teams, and how do you deal with and face that kind of conflict and disruption, as you refer to it, in the workplace. That's kind of the main focus of how you work with your speaking workshop facilitation.
When I started off speaking, they really wanted me to talk about the train crash. And to be honest, after a couple of years, I thought, I've had enough of this. But I'd learned so much about coping with change and obviously a major disruption, that I then discovered that there was a niche for me back in financial services, but helping those companies to understand that it doesn't matter what the change is, you have to have the right mindset and the right tools and strategies in order to deal with it. So that's what I talk about now. But actually reinventing myself like that, I found quite difficult, because everyone, particularly in the UK, remembers me as the Paddington train crash survivor.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wanted them to move away from that. And that's when I first approached you guys at Expert Selling Machine, because I was doing marketing and it wasn't working that well. And I was spending money, but it still wasn't working that well. And it was because most of the marketing people I approached kept on getting their marketing, getting me to fit their marketing model, which I just never felt was right. And they were getting me to do things like go on Pinterest, which I'm really not interested in. And if your heart isn't in something, of course, you can't get the best result out of yourself. So what I liked about DSM and Expert Selling Machine was the fact that you listen more to what I wanted and what I was looking for, and then fitted what you could offer around what I wanted.
Hmm.
So it wasn't a sort of one size fits all, and I had to squeeze into what you were doing. It was more a case of you adjusting to what I wanted and what I was happy and prepared to get involved with.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought it up that way too, because that's one of the things that we really prided ourselves in building this mentoring program too, and working with experts like yourself, is that there is definitely a framework, a methodology, a process to what we do, and there's a lot of different directions you can go with that. And I find that a lot of times when we work with people, that that's usually one of the very first things that they struggle with, is like, there's all of these different things, as you mentioned, like you have consultants were telling you to set up Pinterest accounts, when really there's like some really clear paths that you can take. And yes, there's lots of variables to those, but the goal as an expert, especially somebody like yourself, who essentially is a one-person show, like you have people that work with you and contractors and that type of thing, but you're trying to learn all
That's
this
what's good.
yourself. Yeah, you're trying to learn the technology and what's the big picture look like, and now how do you break that down into individual tasks? Maybe speak to that experience as we've gone through this together as well, from your perspective.
Yeah, again, what I liked about dealing with you guys was the fact that you didn't just say, right, Pam, here's the tools, get on with it. Uh, because I'm good at what I do. I'm good at standing up and speaking. I'm good at going out and meeting clients. I'm good at facing people one to one. What I'm not good at, or what I don't like, should I say, is the nuts and bolts, what I call the grunt work, to excuse that
Yeah.
terminology. And you had the backup systems for me. So although you were saying to me, yeah, we need your input to help us get your messaging right, approach your clients, my niche clients, in the right way, and even work out what that niche was, you were then able to help me facilitate actually running a campaign um, in LinkedIn, which is my preferred platform, um, and were able to take a lot of the donkey work off me. So I was then left with being able to do what I'm good at, which is getting the appointments, going out and meeting these people, and getting a relationship going.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's obviously one of the areas that we really wanted to focus on with this, is that we work with a lot of people that are really good at what they do. But, like me too, I didn't grow up with technology. I graduated university and I didn't have a computer, but I've learned this stuff obviously over time. But you start to realize that these tools are here to really help benefit us instead of control us. And I feel like that's what's happening a lot of times with people, especially those of us that didn't grow up with computers and iPhones in our hands. And therefore, we either have two choices. One, you either learn these skills, which quite frankly, nobody needs to become an expert at all the kind of technology stuff that we're learning here, especially when you're such an expert at other things. And also the other side of it, though, too, is that I think people sometimes get so overwhelmed with it, and then they, start to reach out to vendors and whatnot for quotes on doing this, like in a done for you capacity. And it just gets so costly, right? So that's where we tried to find that sweet spot. So maybe speak about that as far as the process. Cause I know, again, we've got a big picture, and then now we've broken it down into bite-sized chunks. And as you've gone through the weeks, talk about maybe some of the highs and lows you've even gone through too. Cause I'd love for you to just be honest about like what the experience has been like, because every person we work with will absolutely go through the same experience. We like to just address it and be really real about what we're doing.
Okay, all right. Well, when I did campaign number 1, I am on campaign number 6 now, I believe.
Yeah.
But when I started off on campaign 1, I was given Jason as my point of contact with you guys. And I liked the fact that we were having one-to-one meetings and we were able to discuss everything. And I was able to say to him, no, I don't like this, or yeah, okay, I'm interested in that. But I
Yeah.
must admit, when he said to me, and this is the process and this is what I will help you through, I just went, oh my God. I felt like a rabbit caught in the headlights. But it was almost like metaphorically holding my hand all the way through it.
Yeah.
So that was explained. I was then told what I was expected to do to help that process. It was never too onerous. And if it ever did get to the stage where I was sort of sat there going, I've got too much on, Jason was always ever helpful, suggesting either, using my own virtual assistants or using your virtual assistants.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really liked that sort of approach. And rather than feeling like I'd bought a program off you and you were just feeding me information, I almost felt like we've developed a relationship. So I
Hmm.
feel like you're on my side as much as I want to work hard and do what I'm supposed to do to make your system work.
Yeah.
And I also agree with you in as much as I think it's important, if you choose to go down the LinkedIn route, which is obviously more business to business, I would prefer to be an expert on that one platform rather than doing this scattergun approach of trying to be everything to all platforms.
Hmm.
It just doesn't work, and you just tire yourself out, and eventually, like me, you end up hating things like Facebook and Twitter and all that sort of stuff. But since working with you guys, and it's now been what, a year and a half, 2 years,
Yeah.
uh, I really got into LinkedIn. I enjoy it, and it's the first thing I open up on my computer every morning. So I want to see who's messaged me. I'm then talking to people on the telephone, and I am getting a lot more one-to-one meetings, which is where I excel, than
Yeah.
I have done in the past. Far more.
Yeah. And that's, I think, one of the most exciting parts about this too, is that I think anybody that's watching this that does sell business to business, that how most of your business has come in the past is through referrals and actually, face-to-face handshakes, that this is the most natural, authentic way to go and find clients. It's not about paid advertising, even though we do that part, and that's a component of what we do. It's not the focal point. We're not teaching you Facebook ad strategies to go and try and line up meetings that way, because quite frankly, you're more comfortable and better off trying to connect with high level decision makers through a tool like LinkedIn, and then allowing all the processes and the funnels that we're creating together build your authority and just naturally build your sales pipeline. And that's one of the things, I guess, too, Pam, with what we're doing here right now, is that everything's kind of building on top of itself, isn't it? So I think more than anything in the last few weeks, maybe just seeing some of the visuals of how we lay out what that big picture looks like, and then how all these other pieces fit in. Like, we're starting to consider how we might build out your book funnel, for example, and then like a value add video or video series even, and how that can be used in the communication strategy. And what's that been like so far? Obviously, we're just kind of getting in the start of it, but are you seeing the big picture of how this can really benefit you now, 3, 6, 12 months in the future?
Yeah, I'm still not I'm not that clear, as in I'm not crystal clear on the big picture yet. However, you have just launched your new website with all the new assets on there. So I'm
Hmm.
going to look through that and hopefully then get a better understanding. But that's just a personal thing. I need
Yeah.
to understand what I'm trying to achieve. Um, with what we're doing, what I have found quite daunting but fun is the new things that you've got me to do. So things like click funnels. It's not a program I would ever found myself, I doubt. It has been quite interesting learning how to use it. And it's actually been quite fun because it's creative. So
Mm.
I sort of, while I was doing it, I lost focus on this is actually trying to drive people to me. I was actually more interested in, oh, I want to go off and find these nice images, or, oh, I'm going to shoot a
Ah,
video, or let's
yeah.
look for some exciting content. And so that having you guys again in the background, just directing everything so that you're keeping your eyes on what I'm aiming for,
Yeah.
was a big help. So yeah, I did enjoy the process, definitely. And I'm looking forward to the rest of it.
Yeah. And that's another big part of it too, is that, yes, of course, and you already mentioned it, that like this truly is a mentoring program. It's not done for you. It's certainly not do it yourself, but it does have components of both, because we expect the people we work with to bring 50% of their expertise and work ethic to the table. And then we bring the other 50% in the form of templates and scripts and guidance. Like the videos that we have, it's not like, we've sold lots of do-it-yourself trainings in the past, but this is really, here's what we're trying to accomplish. And you're going to see this because Pam is mentioning, like, we're literally just launching all the website as we speak right now. But the videos are focused around, here's your part in all of this. Here's what you need to be considering, because you don't need to be a ClickFunnels expert. Don't anybody get freaked out by that. You just need to understand how this tool works and then get inspired to use it by not getting overwhelmed by the everything. So we'll give you a template. We'll show you how to actually build the elements, and then also really look at what we're trying to create here so that you don't go off the rails too much, because that's definitely a risk with technology, and people that quite frankly didn't grow up with it, is we can get overwhelmed and sidetracked really, really fast, and you don't know where to come back to. So that's one of the areas that I think we really focus on helping people. And we do this, of course, as you know, Pam, through the one-on-one meetings, but then also the Slack as well, and even the group calls. Maybe just speak to what that experience has been like so far too, maybe all three of those elements.
The group calls was quite interesting, actually, because being based in the UK and the program and you guys are based over in Canada, there was that time difference lag. But the minute I said to you guys, look, I'm struggling because I can't do the timings on this, you then altered the timing slightly so that it made sense for both Canada and me. So yeah, it was that bit has been really good. I mean, it's been interesting because it has nothing to do with marketing or what we're actually concentrating on, but it has helped from a personal level. Can you see the cat tail?
I can, yeah. The boss is saying, I'm hungry. Let's go, mom.
Yeah, so the Dr. Nema's part has been really interesting because that had more to do with personal development. And that is one thing I definitely wanted to say for you in this video, was anybody considering using ESM or even DSM, do not, or start off very clear. This is very different from any marketing program that I've ever come across. And I've now been speaking for 5 years. It is very different, but it takes an awful lot of hard work from your point of view. So as long as you're committed to even taking a different step to your competitors and stealing a march on them because they're not doing this yet, then if you put the hard work in, you should get the results back. I mean, that's what I've been finding.
Yeah, we actually have that on our member site when people first log in, and you may not have even seen it yet, Pam, but we just say, you know, your results in this program will be directly related to your commitments and desire and work ethic in this program, because we're here, we're behind the scenes, we're supporting you, and we will push to make sure that you get the results that you're looking for. So we don't try and sugarcoat the fact that this marketing game is supposed to be easy, because quite frankly, it's not for most people. But what we can promise is that we'll give you a clear path, and we'll work with you through the highs and lows, which is where a lot of our group calls really comes in, because we celebrate wins, we talk about challenges, and then we get, you know, just adjustments and tools and strategies to help us between calls even too, because as entrepreneurs, many of the people I talk to, they work from home or they work in a solopreneur office, and it's really easy to let this get away from you. And I'm in the same boat. You know, it's a constant reminder every week. I'm constantly working on myself and transformation and improving and surrounding myself with the right people. So it is a big part of it. In fact, we would probably argue to say that the mindset side of it is probably the most important part of it, because if your mindset's in line with what you want to accomplish, and you know where you are, and you can see that there's a path to get there, part of it is just trusting in that process and seeing it all the way through, even when you hit those challenges.
So that again is where the value comes in for me, is that although being an entrepreneur and being by myself effectively, this part of my process of my business, I actually feel like I'm working with a team, and that is actually quite a big comfort. It makes you feel less alone, and when you're trying to make decisions about what might be right and what might be wrong for you, it's nice to know that you've got those people to fall back on and say, what do you think, or can I have your opinion? And you may go with your original decision in the first place, but it's just nice to have that sort of backup.
Yeah, absolutely. So this has been great. I'm so glad we've been able to have this chat about this. I know it's going to help a lot of other people that might be in the same position as you were a while ago, or even are currently in, because again, this is an evolving process, and there's so many amazing things that we're doing with you too, Pam. I'll maybe just let you have any final words for anybody that might be watching this and considering hopping on a call with me, or, you know, just ultimately trusting themselves to take a step towards a mentorship program where even they maybe have gone through bad experiences in the past, which I run into a lot. This is one of the main resistance that people have when they think about investing and joining a mentoring program is they say, oh, I've been doing this for 5 years and I've spent literally hundreds of thousands of dollars in some cases and haven't got the results. What would you say to those people?
I would say that I was in much the same position when I came to you guys. It can be quite daunting when you're researching and looking on the internet, and people say, "Oh, I can do this for you, and it'll cost you 5,000," or "I can do this for you, and it'll cost you 10,000." That, when you're solo, is really, really daunting. And basic human instinct is always, "What's in it for me?" So if I'm going to spend that sort of money, what do I get back? Well, all I can tell you is the experience I've had. I wouldn't still be with you guys 2 years later if I didn't feel like I was getting the benefits. And in the past, I feel that I have earned enough revenue directly attributable to the programs I've run with you to far exceed what I've expended with you guys. So
Great.
I've therefore won. And surely that's the whole point of a marketing program.
Absolutely. And there's lots more to come. That's the exciting part, is this all just kind of builds on top of itself and just keeps getting better and better and further refined, and your team gets built around you and your message gets more clear and your technology, it all just kind of comes together, and it's a really fun place to be.
Does that mean we're going to be working together in 20 years' time and you're going to be white with a long beard by then?
It's possible. There's a few whites in this beard already, so we'll see. But we have no plans on stopping what we're doing because we truly enjoy working with the people that we do work with. So thanks so much for doing this, Pam. Really appreciate it.
That's a pleasure. And I'm now going off to enjoy my weekend.
Enjoy that. The boss says it's time to get off the phone there.
Yeah, he
So
did, didn't he?
yeah. All right. Thanks very much, Pam.
All right then. Thanks, Trevor. Bye.